Welcome back to Farm Food Facts, brought to you by the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers in Action. I'm your host, Joanna Guza. While we have our guests on the line, we want to get their insights on the future of agriculture and what they're keeping a close eye on. Our guest was on an earlier episode talking about his involvement focused on efficient energy use in agriculture in a commissioned report from U.S. Farmers and Ranchers in Action called The Potential for U.S. Agriculture to be Greenhouse Gas Negative. Now, Tom, with this bonus question, I'd like you to answer this question. What areas are you keeping an eye on that will have a positive and or negative impact on the future of agriculture?
I think I want to go back to the title of our study, which is the opportunities for U.S. agriculture to be greenhouse gas negative. And I want to unpack that a little bit. So we talk a lot about greenhouse gas emissions, and many of our activities, both in agriculture and in societies at large, are putting carbon dioxide and methane and nitrous oxide into the atmosphere, and they're driving a really important challenge. Farmers and ranchers are most exposed to the weather. They've been fortunate for the last few centuries to have a period of relatively compatible weather, and it's getting worse. So in terms of risks and challenges, how do we actually deal with that? A lot of the focus has been on building resilience into agriculture, but greenhouse gas negative, in the title of our study, is actually an opportunity to make climate better, to get it back to what our parents and grandparents experienced. And agriculture has the biggest opportunity to do carbon negative activity that we have in our society because of photosynthesis. So here's an amazing fact. Plants take up 10 times as much carbon dioxide from the atmosphere every year as all fossil fuel emissions combined. If we could figure out how to harness just 10% of that photosynthesis in a more constructive way to keep that carbon dioxide that the plants are already captured in the soil, in products, and substituting for fossil energy, then we would solve the climate challenge. And we can go beyond that 10% to actually store carbon again, building up soil organic matter to increase soil health and resilience, building biomaterials and bioproducts out of plant-based carbon, and really start to pull CO2 out of the atmosphere in agriculture rather than putting it in. So that's the big opportunity as I see it.